Hey Ryan, what's up? My name is Mike. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. And my question is, what are some of the differences in your point of view in family values between a traditional American family and a traditional Japanese family? Arigato.
Hey Mike, how's it going? Thanks for your question, man. It's nice to hear from somebody from Georgia. So, I'm going to talk about what I know about traditional Japanese family values. I have a disclaimer. I didn't grow up in a Japanese family, but I do know about it just from having lived here for a long time. I know about it from my friends' stories, my students' stories, and also I've been directly affected by it from when I had Japanese girlfriends. They brought these values into the relationship, and I've heard these stories from them. And they've even expected me to do certain things that were kind of different from my own values. So, anyways, I'm just going to focus on traditional Japanese family values. I'm not going to talk about American family values because you already know about that. So, how does a marriage start? Well, here in Japan, girls are really desperate to get married by the age of 30. Like, that's a big cutoff point for them. They have a term here in Japan, it's kind of funny, it's called, if a girl is over 25, she's considered a discounted Christmas cake. Now, if you don't get that concept, what I mean is that up until the 25th of December, a Christmas cake has value. It's sellable. But after the 25th of December, it's hard to sell, and it gets heavily discounted because nobody needs a Christmas cake after Christmas. So girls are aware of this. This is how society is here. Okay, this is not my opinion. This is how Japanese men and this is how society thinks about this. So girls are really desperate to get married by 30. If you're dating a girl between the age of 26 and 30, and she sees you as a serious suitor, she's going to try to lock that down. So I've noticed that a lot of people have children at a pretty young age here. And, Japanese women are just like women anywhere else in the world. They have that biological clock. They want to have children. They want to they want to pass on their genes. That's no different than anywhere else. And they're looking for stable men, men with jobs, men with money. Hey, it's not different from anywhere else in the world. That's why I think a lot of Japanese women have fun with the guy from the other side of the tracks, i.e. the gaijin. And then when she's looking for a husband, she goes back and she looks for a Japanese guy. I'm not saying all Japanese girls are like this, but I've seen it a lot. So one thing that probably would surprise you is that marriage is basically a big facade here. Now keep in mind, I'm not talking about all people. But this was something that was very shocking to me and that I learned about over the years being here in Japan. As you may know, the divorce rate is a lot lower in Japan than it is in the United States. In America, people get sick of the relationship, they just say fuck it, and they get divorced. And divorces are nasty, and there's like these long legal battles. But here in Japan, people have a sense of wanting to preserve harmony in society, and they don't want to disrupt the harmony of things, and they also want to save face. So they tend to stay in unhappy marriages, and even though they're unhappy, they just, in order to keep, I don't know, the community, society gelled together, they'll stay married. So of course this results in a lot of affairs. Women have boyfriends on the side, and there's two kinds of relationships they can have there. One is she'll have a boyfriend who gives her emotional attention and meets her emotional needs, a guy who woos her and listens to her, takes her out, makes her feel special again. He courts her all over again. There's that type, and that's usually that kind of married woman. Her husband completely ignores her, just shuts her out. Then there's the type where it's a sexless marriage, and there's some kind of relationship there between the husband and the wife, but there's no sex. So she goes out and she's looking for sex, and she's having sex with other guys, or she may have a sex friend like that. And it's the same thing with the guys, the married guys. They either have a girlfriend I think in Japanese they say nigo-san, sango-san, yongo-san. That means like girl number 2, girl number 3, girl number 4. And that's for the girlfriends. And then just for sex, you know, they'll go, well, for companionship, they'll go to like a hostess bar. And that's where they pay for expensive drinks, and they got a pretty young thing sitting next to them, talking to them, pumping up their egos, you know, maybe rubbing the leg a little bit. They have sex clubs here, like Soapland, where the guy just goes in, he pays like $300, or maybe it's 200, or maybe 150. I don't know. Never been to one actually, but they are expensive. And the girl just like soaps them down, gives them a shower or a bath, and then they roll around on, you know, on a air mattress and do their thing. Or they have it's called Hotel Health here, where the guy goes into a shop, he chooses the girl he wants, and they go off to a love hotel together. Love hotels are just like hotels specifically designed for people to go to have sex. We don't really have that concept in America. Yeah, and I think that's another reason why they have love hotels here, because Japanese houses are so small, you know, that you, even if you're not married and you still live with your parents, you can't bring your boyfriend or girlfriend back home and be doing it there, because the house is so small and the doors are so thin that, you know, everybody's going to know what's up. So they need a place to go to, the love hotels. And the married people need a place to go to with their sex friends or their boyfriends or their nigo-sans or sango-sans. They need a place to have sex. That's why they have those big curtains in front of the love, blocking off the parking lots. The parking lots are kind of like, it's like a garage you go into, and there's these big curtains, thick curtains hanging down, so you can't see the license plates and you can't see the cars inside, because they're doing a lot of shady shit in there. Another thing I found interesting and shocking and surprising is that like 95% of my friends, students, Japanese people I've talked to, their parents sleep in separate rooms. They pretty much have sexless marriages. So that's, yeah. I mean, it's a whole concept, you know, the Japanese family is just holding up a facade, but yet in the home they're sleeping in separate rooms. Whereas Americans, you know, if you're not happy with your wife, they say, what do they say? Happy wife, happy life. You know, that's what the Americans say. And that's true. I mean, if you're not sleeping with your wife, something's wrong. Okay, I'm going to talk about traditional roles now. I know that a lot of men expect women to do housework. Basically, the man makes the money. But nowadays, I see a lot of women also working and contributing to the family finances as well. I've heard a lot of women complain about how they work, but their husband expects them to also do all the housework and cooking. I hear that Japanese guys have a very kind of traditional mentality where it's like, you know, the woman does the housework, that's her job, that's her duty. And if she gets a job on the side, that's on her. I have a feeling that children here are overeducated. I mean, they go to school, but after school, they do things like they go to cram school, or they go to abacus lessons, or English lessons, or dance lessons. I mean, they're always just doing stuff after school, going to lessons or going to a juku, a cram school. It just seems like too much. You know, I teach elementary school kids, and some of those kids, like, they're booked Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. when they finish school. From 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. they're booked with lessons and activities. I think that's too stressful for kids. I think they need time to play and decompress and just go crazy and be kids. But you know, the parents are just so they're so locked into this. We need our child to be number one. We need to ensure our child's survival in this society, and in order to ensure their survival, they have to be at the top of their class and get good grades and go to a good college. There's a lot more pressure on Japanese kids than I think there are on American kids, or at least the American kids of my generation. I think in Japan there's not enough emphasis on family time together. in my family when I was growing up, even though both my parents worked, it was important for us to have a meal together every night, and we didn't watch TV when we ate dinner. We actually sat at a table and talked to each other, and we often spent weekends together going on trips, picnics, or little rendezvous to the beach, or hiking, or to a museum. Whereas here in Japan, you know, the dad, oh, that's another thing that's different. For a Japanese father, his work is his life, and the family comes second, and his first family is his company. And I mean, to me, it just seems like a really sick mentality. But to them, I don't think it's a sick mentality. I think they get a sense of worth from being needed at the company. And you know, they're working until 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 11 p.m., 12 in the morning, and they're coming home late. I mean, I teach kids, and they don't even see their dad during the day. Their dad leaves for work before they get up, and he comes home after they go to bed at night. They might see their dad once a week on a Saturday or Sunday, because these workaholic fathers usually work one of the weekends too. So, I mean, I can't really be judgmental about that. That's from my American perspective that I'm being judgmental. But really what it seems to me is that there's not enough emphasis on family time together, and there's more emphasis on duty here. Like, wife, this is your duty. Your duty is to take care of the children, clean the house, cook my dinner. My duty is to make the money, make sure we have enough, financial stability, have everything you need, and have a few girlfriends on the side. I feel like children here are really babied and spoiled. You know, I see mom just cooing over their children and just not letting them learn from failure. And they try to protect them as much as possible. I know in America, our parents encourage us to get out of the house and be independent as soon as possible. Whereas here, it's perfectly normal, if you're a 27-year-old guy and you're not married, to be living with your mom and dad. I mean, that's perfectly normal. The cool thing about that, though, is you'll see like 27-year-old guys they're working at a company, full-time job, and they're not paying rent, they're not paying for living expenses, they're saving all that money. That's why I've heard a lot of stories where, you know, when they get married, they've saved up so much money they can buy their house with cash. But yeah, that's normal here, you know, to just baby their kids. And you see, I meet women who are in their 30s or even 40s who are still living with their parents. And they can live with their parents until they get married. The whole way we deal with elders is a lot different. In America, it's really common to send your old parents to a special nursing home. Whereas in Japan, that's not really a popular concept here. They have them, but a lot of people have the mentality that it is my responsibility to directly take care of my parents, my parents who can't take care of themselves anymore. So you have the whole family living together, the children, the parents, and the grandparents. Another thing is, it's usually they have this mentality here where when a couple gets married, the woman takes on, and it's not even talked about. It's already assumed that she's going to take care of her husband's parents when they get old. That's why the husband's parents can be really picky about who the husband marries. Okay, and lastly, I just wanted to mention a little bit about divorces. From what I hear in America, divorces are very messy and drawn out, expensive. You have to go to court. Guys get screwed out of, half their income, and it's just really an ugly situation. Here in Japan, it's very simple. I mean, most people have amicable divorces. They just go to City Hall, they sign a paper, it's done. No lawyers, no arguing, no court. It's very simple here. They do have a family court here, and if they do have major discrepancies, yes, they can go to court and get divorced. But 90% of the people here just They work things out by themselves. They come to terms that they both agree with, and they sign the divorce papers, and that's it. Very simple. Okay, well, I hope that gives you some ideas of what's going on in Japanese families. Thanks for asking me that question, Mike. If you have a question about Japan or anything, it doesn't even have to be about Japan, make a video, upload it to anywhere you want. For shared is good, and send me the link, and I'll get back to it. I know a lot of you guys have sent me videos. I haven't been able to put those videos out yet, but I will get to it. I will answer everybody's questions. So I look forward to your questions, and I'll see you later.